Hello and welcome to a Bergkamp Wonderland, an Arsenal podcast. I'm your host, John, and tonight my guest will be, he's the man who pushes my buttons and yours, normally because he's saying everyone's names wrong. It's Danny the GFP. You right, mate?
Oh, cheers, Jace. I mean, John. You're right.
Oh, see,
these buttons I'm pressing of yours, whereabouts are on you, are they?
I'm not allowed to disclose that information. We could get in trouble for that.
Not since the wrong type of podcast.
And I can already hear Steve saying, get on with it, so we'll move swiftly on. If you're ever in Wales and deep in the valleys and you need some confectionery, there's only one man to see. It's Jason Davies. How you doing, Jace?
That's very good, mate. I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. I tried to keep it a little bit cleaner than usual. Mr. Holick set a very high bar that I'm nowhere near going to achieve, but I'll try my best this week.
Yeah, Dan. Yeah, we need a word with Holick, okay? That last week was far too professional, far too polished, and far too cultured.
And far too short. Raj almost listened when he saw it was an hour and a half, but he thought, no, still too long. He's meant to be on tonight, actually. That's why he's not here. Oh, bloody hell, that's the Lucasade. He's currently at somewhere watching cricket. So I think we got a better end of this deal because we don't.
Sounds like Raj.
Yeah, profiteroles ahoy.
And on to our final guest of the evening. He's got more clobber than days to wear it. You might know him as She War, but we know him as Gav. How you doing, mate?
Evening, mate. How are you?
Yeah, very good, very good. How's business?
Yeah, we could do with business side like everything really. Just depends on how well Arsenal does. So obviously, the better Arsenal do, the better everybody does. Not just myself, all the pubs around the ground, all the fellas with the stalls and the little shops and the food outlets around the ground. You know, it's kind of like we've got an added incentive to want Arsenal to win because it affects our livelihood at the same time, if that makes sense.
Out there, Gav. I thought you always wanted Arsenal to lose, didn't you? To get rid of Arsenal.
I was never in that camp. I was never in that camp. I wanted Wenger to go because he kept bloody losing. Not the other way around. I mean, if he was winning, there you go. But anyway, that's all over with. We can look forward to a big, bright future next year in a dark shirt.
Very exciting stuff.
Get Gav to tell us who the sponsor of this pod is. Because
I was going to do that before you just interrupted.
You didn't have that.
Do you
want
to host it?
Do you want to host it? No, I don't.
Right, yeah. Also, I apologise in advance, listeners. Danny asked me to host tonight, so if this is a monumental cock up, it's his fault, not mine. Gav,
fair bit of backseat driving going on there, isn't there?
Would you like to give us the name of a certain website that's hosting us for the second half of the season?
Yeah,
hosting us. Sorry, sponsoring us, I should say.
Sponsoring us. Yeah, I've got a little Arsenal shirt shop, which is www.thearsenalshirts.com, and I've got, I think on Monday I counted up, I think there was about 225 different Arsenal shirts, going back to the Umbro days, going all through the Adidas and Nike, and there's a few match worn. There's a few signed items if you're after something a bit special, signed by Henry or Adams or Wrighty, someone like that, or Bergkamp. Yeah, so have a look if you're that way inclined. If you like your old retro shirts.
Lovely stuff. But yeah, definitely go and check it out, people. There's there is some very nice gear on there. We got a few things to talk about tonight, but first of all, it's everyone's favourite bit where they can turn off or fast forward or whatever they want to do. Danny, do you want to give us the scores across the board and skip the loan watch because we know none of our loan players have been doing anything?
Actually, you say that. Lucas Perez scored against Barcelona at the weekend. They still got hammered 4-2, though. Fucking feed the league, though. Nonsense. Right, we'll start off with the ladies. They had a very weird... They lost 3-0 away at Birmingham City. I know Birmingham got a half-decent women's team. But, yeah, anyway, the most important game for Arsenal is on Sunday. On Saturday, we're playing against Chelsea in the Women's FA Cup final. So good luck to them there. Yeah, but in this game they played against Birmingham. There was Ellen White, used to play for Arsenal. She got her 13th goal in 10 games of the season. So she spent 3 seasons with us, and she's now there doing well. So that's a bit of a shock that they beat us. Right, the next one is the under-23s. That league, as we said last week, is done. We have won the league. We've won it by At least 2 to 3 points, depending on how Liverpool get on tomorrow night. But then no one can catch us. We won the league. Magnificent effort there by all the lads. And Eddie Nketiah finishing second top goal scorer with 12 games. And Reece Nelson had 9 goals. And what other Arsenal players? And Dragomir, who I thought was a centre-back, but Mike told me he's not. He's a midfielder. He ended up with 6 goals. So that's a fantastic result there for the season. Sadly, moving on to the under-18s, we've had a shit couple of weeks. Lost 9-0 to the Spurs in the league because all of our best players were called up to the under-23s because the under-23s were called up to the first team. Then we lost 3-1 to Chelsea at their place in the FA Youth Cup final first leg. And then last night they came to ours and they beat us 4-0. But you know what it's like with Chelsea. They've won 5 consecutive FA Youth Cups. They beat Man City in 3 of those finals in a row. They beat Fulham. Then the year before that, they lost to Norwich. The year before that, they beat Blackburn. But as our very own Josh has done a magnificent tweet, I'm just going to scroll up through my thing and find it. He has put Chelsea under-18s have won 7 out of the last 9 FA Cups, yet the only youngster to break into the first team they brought straight from League 2, #EFL, and that's BN Joshed. If you want to go and have a look at that tweet, that's really good. That sums it up. They can win all the leagues they want.
One of their players last night,
yeah,
they bought him off Glasgow Rangers as a 16-year-old for £500,000.
Yeah, certainly did.
16.
Yeah,
and like I say, that's basically why Chelsea are doing so well. They spend millions and millions on their youth setup. They try and buy all the best 16-year-olds, 15 and 16-year-olds. They try and buy them. 15 and 16, absolutely crazy what they're doing.
And then they loan them all out.
Sorry to butt in.
That's okay, and that's an income stream for Chelsea. They go and loan out about 40 or 50 players per season are loaned out, and all those loan fees keep them going, and they're shit. So, unlike Arsenal, it doesn't matter. Don't have to win trophies for our players to come through, as we've seen this season. Some magnificent players coming through the youth setup. We've got some questions about that coming up later. So that's the under-19s done. Gav, is there anybody you'd like to hear how they're getting on at loan? We have couple of boys at Birmingham, both are not playing. We've got Bielik at Walsall. We've got Mafidi at Charlton. There's one in Germany. We've got 3 playing in Spain.
Tell us the one who's doing the best. You pick one. The one that you think's doing the best at the moment.
Well, I'm going to pick Chupa Chupa Apcom only because it's been a while since I've said his name, and he is playing in Belgium for a team called Sint Sint Truiden. They have got a longer name than that, but I'm fucked if I'm going to try and read that out. And if you go down to his thing at the moment, I think he scored recently. The Jupiter Pro League, it was one of the cups. Oh, the playoff, that was it. In Belgium, they have playoffs in the league, and he has scored 3 goals in 6 games so far, and he scored 1 at the weekend against Double O Stenstedt, and they beat them 4-1. So Chupa Chupa, when he comes back, he'll be fucked off to some other non-league club or lower league club. He won't make it in the Premier League or Championship or League One probably. So if I covered everything there, I think I have. You can wake up now, listeners. Ding-a-ling-a-ling, I'm done.
You done? You done? So. Still good? Oh, yeah. Marvellous. Well, thanks for that, Danny. Thrilling, as always. Right, everyone recovered from that now. Just deep breath, wake yourself up a little bit of air in. If you're in the car, just open the window a little bit. That always works. So we've got 2 games to talk about tonight. And the first one, both games, it's a bit weird. Good performances, I thought, for most of them, but not the results we wanted. So I'm going to go to Jason first to talk about the Atletico game, the first leg, Jace. What you made of the game, and just talk us through it a little bit.
Oh, well, cheers for that, mate. Full house, which is nice to see at the ground. Cracking atmosphere. Game kicks off. We started brightly. I thought we started really brightly, and we put them under pressure early doors, which led to the right back. I can't remember the fella's name. There was a late challenge.
I think his name is.
Thanks, mate.
Check. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a late challenge on Jack after about 6 or 7 minutes. Certain yellow, no issues with that. It studs up, it's late, it's a bad challenge. And then he compounds the issue a couple of minutes later with as another studs up challenge, another certain yellow card. 2 yellows already, he's off. We were on top before he went off. I know it was early in the game, but we continued to dominate from there. First half was plenty of possession. We created good chances, we just couldn't finish. We did leave them in a couple of times, which was a bit worrying. They had a couple of moments of 10 men, and you can tell with Simeone's side, they were disciplined. They were dangerous on the counter. That's fair enough. But I don't think they offered a lot that first half. Obviously, having 10 men affects them. Came out second half, and we were putting crosses in. We were building the pressure. Funny enough, we mentioned this in the WhatsApp group, didn't we?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I thought that was perfect timing as well.
I've done that. Me and Steve have done that a couple of times this season, whether it's the way we're going to score a goal or the player that we're like tearing a stripe into and then pops up with one, don't they?
Yeah. and as I said, you continue to build the pressure, they're going to crack. And, it was fair play to Jack. I don't mind giving him criticism. He did well in the build-up, good cross. And how the hell Lacazette got above Gordon thing?
Oh,
I'll never know. Yeah, what a header. It was brilliant, and at that point, I'd have snapped your hand off for 1-0 because, we created plenty of chances, but we just weren't finishing them. It was all a bit. There was no lack of conviction. We bit unlucky at times and poor at others in finishing. As the game went on, we went for the second, which I thought was the right thing to do. But towards the end of the game, Welbeck tries to buy a free kick. Now, after Mustafi against Sergio Aguero in the League Cup final, let's not try to buy free kicks. Let's not try to get a cheap one. We get too many players doing that at the moment. He goes down easily, loses the ball, and they play the killer ball, which has been on Achilles' heel all season, just long. And then it's Griezmann and Koscielny one-on-one. And, well, I'm sorry, but, you've got to give Welbeck half the blame on this and the other half to Koscielny because, once again, in a big game, Koscielny screws the pooch. Fair play to Griezmann. Fair play to Griezmann. He takes the goal well, but it was a disastrous end to what had been a very comfortable game for us. And we should have finished that game 1-0, 2-0. Actually, we could have scored a hatful, but it wasn't to be on the night. Look, 1-1 isn't the end of the world, but it took the shine off a really good performance, and at least we go into the next round of this, the next leg with a lot of confidence, knowing that we can create chances. That's the big thing to take from it.
Yeah, it was. I thought overall, for the majority of the game, I thought we actually played quite well, and it was one of our better performances from the majority of the players on the pitch. Gav, I just wanted to come to you on Lacazette and his goal. It's not been easy for the strikers at Arsenal this season because Lacazette in particular, he came in, he started brightly, and then his form kind of dipped off, and we found out about the injury he had. But he hasn't been helped at all by the players behind him. It just really offered him not a lot, and he works really hard. And I thought it was one of his better games. Arguably could have got another goal, but I thought he did really, really well on the night.
Yeah, no, like I say, it's hard to disagree with anything you said there, really. I think that was probably one of his best games for us. It just seemed like he was more mobile. I know, I think towards the end of the first half, he had a little spell out wide and Welbeck come in the middle. And I just thought that he couldn't have done much more, and he didn't really have any. I don't think he had a chance where you thought, oh, he's missed that one. Do you know what I mean? And he shouldn't have got that header, right? He shouldn't have scored. So I think overall, he was probably one of the shining lights of the game, really. Because I think he created space. He tried to get into space, and he was tracking back. And like I say, it's very, very hard to say a bad word against him, really, to be fair. I would like to say I was quite, him. I thought Jack had a good game. There were several people that weren't necessarily on form, but I think the story of it really was we created too many half chances and we're not scoring half chances at the moment.
Yeah.
I think that's what sort of really let us down going forwards, and of course, Koscielny's always got one of them in him.
Yeah.
He always has done. He always will do.
Coming to that Koscielny moment, Danny, I'm just... it's so disappointing because I thought we had played well, we'd managed the game decently. It's getting to the last sort of 10 minutes or so, and then, just a simple long ball. The one thing, Griezmann, who's done nothing all night, pops up with the goal. Was this, what were your thoughts when that goal went in, or what were you thinking about Laurent Koscielny at the time?
I was looking at Monreal, and Monreal has suddenly decided to. Well, first thing I thought is, hold on, we've got three players covering the halfway line. We've got Mustafi far right, Koscielny in the middle, and Monreal nearest to us. And as it slowly happened in slow motion in my head, I was thinking, why has Monreal turned around and faced the other way? What does he know that we don't know? And then I thought, oh fuck. Griezmann's going to be one-on-one with Koscielny. He has waited all night. He is like a cat who is after a mouse, and the mouse has stuck his head out of the mouse hole. The cat was ready to have him. And I thought, well, Monreal's facing the wrong direction. Monreal's playing him on side. Mustafi is never going to go from the right-hand side of the pitch across to the middle of the pitch and then down and chase him the entire way. I thought Koscielny did all right to keep up with Griezmann until he decided to try and clear the ball. I know he kicked it, it hit his head, and that knocked it forward. But I can't remember what happened just before then. I think he tried to go round, tried to fool Dave the bin man, and the whole thing was just a calamity. And as soon as that play started, I thought, there we go, it's all over now. And I half expected him to score another one because we tend to crumble like that. But up until that point, like we were saying before the show, Lacazette had 8 chances to score and he only scored 1. We had 28 chances in all, and we scored 1 goal. They had 6 and they scored 1 goal. As much as it's good to have a moan about Koscielny and maybe Dave the bin man, you can't really blame them in total when you've had so many chances. Their job is to make sure we don't concede, but it's also Ozil and Lacazette and Welbeck to make sure that we score a goal, and they had plenty of opportunities. And if they'd have done half of their job, we'd have scored 14 goals and we wouldn't care about the fact that we conceded 1. So the whole team, you could just see it wasn't going to end well as soon as that happened. But I know you're probably going to come on to it, the later chances that we had. So we still had 2 more chances to rescue. This time we didn't.
Here's a question for you guys, okay? I know hindsight's a wonderful thing, and, look, it's for me, Koscielny's got to do better there. He's an experienced player. If you're going to claim to be a world-class or, a great player, you've got to do better there. His pace, he's got enough pace to deal with it. But would you have been happy if Koscielny had taken one for the team and kind of wiped Griezmann out?
God, yeah.
Yeah, because then he wouldn't be playing the second leg.
It's that moment of he's got like 3 different options for me there, and it's one, just kick it out for a corner. One, you try and kick it to the touch, to the sideline for a throw in. And like you said, Jace, if you're not going to get there, you just bring him down.
Yeah. Sometimes
you have to do that, and at that time, I think they were outside the box as well. So it's maybe he does get a red card and he gets sent off. If it keeps it, if it keeps it a clean sheet, that's fine. It's what you do, and it's just poor decision making at the time, and it is a huge disappointment. But I do take Danny's point that we did have enough chances that we could have scored some more.
Absolutely. I think that's more than a fair point. We're profligate in front of goal, and I don't think Atletico are a good side. I don't think they're a great side by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not scared of the second leg, but I'd have been a damn sight happier going into the second leg at 1-0 up.
Here's a point for you, gents. Right? I put this tweet out the next day, right? With how we play and how we set up and everything, right? And I think we've actually got a better chance going over there at 1-1 than we have if we was winning 1-0. Simply because we can't defend the fucking league. The only way we can play is by going out and trying to outscore teams, and that's what we've got to do. So I actually think we've got more. I think we've got more of it, as weird as it sounds, and getting to the psyche of how our team operate. We've actually got a better chance at 1-1 than we have if we was winning 1-0. Look at what happened the previous round.
I agree with you. I mean, look. Let's be fair, okay? If you look at sort of last season's FA Cup semi-final and final, nobody gave us a hope in either game, did they? We went out and we played these teams off the park. If we go out to defend, we're asking for trouble, you know. And when you look at some of the quality we've got in attack, you know, on a different night, we could have beaten them 5-0 last week, you know, if not more. And I just think, you know, we've got to go out there. We've got to be positive. We've got to play with some ambition.
Well, we've got no choice. That's the thing. We've got no choice now. If we was to go over there and we knew we had to protect the lead, then we wouldn't. That choice would, you know, that the choice of actually going out and attacking or defending, that's been taken out of our hands now. So that's why I think we've actually got a better chance, you know, going over there knowing that we have to win or at least, you know, get a 2-2 draw. Than going over there trying to protect the lead, because Wenger don't know how to do that. Do you know what I mean? Our players, he's bought players who don't know how to do that. And obviously there's always, you know, if Koscielny's playing, you know, we've always got that risk of him or indeed Mertesacker, you know, making a complete fucking wrong call again. So, like I say, I think oddly it's to our advantage that we've actually got to go over there and perform and outscore them.
Yeah, I think Arsene actually, he said it in his press conference, I think after the game and in the build-up to Man United game when he was asked about it again, he said, you know, our task is simple, we've just got to go out there and win. Which I think this team, if you just tell them that you've got to go win the game, I think you're right, Gav. They're more, their mindset is put to that rather than if we'd won it 2-3-0, then it'd be very Arsenal to go out and have a complete and utter collapse. Just quickly before we move on from this and on to the United game, I just wanted to ask, Jace, am I nuts in thinking that the sending off kind of helped Atletico a little bit? Because I thought up until that point, I thought they were really struggling, and it it disrupted our flow a little bit. That
I got to be honest, I absolutely agree. I think it galvanised them. I think, you know, they went, you know, they came out, they're giving it all the huddle. You know, we're in this to sort of, you know, they're giving it the huddle, the big team thing, and yet they didn't play like a team that first 10 minutes. We looked slick. And they didn't look like they had. I know it's only 10 minutes, okay? I you know, and you can't judge a whole game on that, but we looked like we were at the races, you know. And I totally agree with you. As soon as they had that man sent off, is it Thomas went to right back?
Yeah, Thomas Partey. Yeah.
I think he's one of their best players.
He's
creative. He's definitely interesting.
Look, he's big, he's quick, he's a proper athlete. I've not seen any of him before, to be honest with you. He looks a very decent player. He had a really good effort. I think it was the first or second half, I think, where he took on 3 or 4 players and beat them. But you know, I was watching an American stream. I had Alexi Lalas. Oh my
God. I was talking with him yesterday because the Gooners in the USA did their pod and they were moaning about him on there. Then they happened to at him and then he was chatting to us in our interactions yesterday. Seems like a lovely. He had a trial at Arsenal. Did you know that?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Lovely
bloke.
That bored me the first time round, okay?
You shut your face, you anti-ginger American race. Yeah, Shredder will take offence to that.
No, I like Shredder. I don't like Alexi Lalas. Oh my God, it was painful, okay? But it galvanised them. They had their backs against the wall. And, you know, you look at Simeone, you look at his character, you look at the way he got sent off, etc. You know, that's manna from heaven for him. I mean, I despise Simeone as a human being, as a football coach. He looked like an Albanian gangster. Okay, but look, you know, it disrupted our flow a bit, and I think they just thought, right, if we go through the phases here now, you know, keep possession, keep building the pressure, it'll come. And I think we were talking in the WhatsApp group. If we get 1, we could get 4. Yeah. Unfortunately, got 1, and it didn't quite materialise. But you know, look, I'm positive for Thursday. I really am. Okay, you know, as long as these guys go out there and give it their all, I think we can win. But this is the Arsenal, and it will actually, with our Premier League away form, it would be so frigging Arsenal of us to go out there and win 2-0. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I've been Mr. Pessimistic for the last couple of seasons, but even I'm...
You shocked me.
Yeah, no,
Jonah.
I don't want to say I'm going to predict a winner or anything because I'm not allowed to predict anything to do with important games because I always get Jonah it up. But no, I am actually positive because it's just the way we played in that first leg. I suppose we should touch on Simeone getting sent off. Danny, is that the kind of managerial style you'd like to see on the sidelines for Arsenal?
Well, because there is varying degrees of managerial getting up for it. You've got the Jurgen Klopp running up and down, passion, hugging, punching the air, screaming that I like, and then you've got I think he's going to kill someone, he's going to sacrifice a donkey at half time kind of thing that Simeone has. He's an absolute prick, and I hate him. He may manage my Spanish team, but he plays shit boring football. You've got a front three of Torres, Costa and Griezmann, and most games you only score one goal. And you've got some decent midfielders like Koke and Gamero, who's more of a number 10-ish. And you've got some really good players there. They must be thinking, I don't want to play for this bloke because we're never going to win the league again under him. They get decent money for the players they get rid of. I mean, it looks like Antoine may be off to Real Madrid or Barcelona. But I don't like him as a manager. I don't like him as a person. His face annoys me. I've heard a rumour that he may well be bald, which is doing him no favours. I'm not sure if he's gone Mikel Arteta Lego hair or whether he's gone Conte hair implants. But either way, I don't like the bloke at all. And talking about dodgy hair,
and he's Argentinian.
Well, yeah, we've had Chris has sent us a tweet for a question, and then he sent me a WhatsApp, Jace, and said I better read his question out. He doesn't even come on the fucking pods anymore, and he's telling us how to run it.
Good for him. I respect that about Chris. Good for him.
Yeah. Tweet me and then WhatsApp me telling me I better fucking read it.
Hey. You know the rules, okay?
Yeah.
Don't argue, just do it.
It's on top of the list, Chris.
Oh dear. Well, I mean that pretty much covers the game. I don't want to go too much into the upcoming tie, but are we like myself and Jason, Gav, Danny, you positive for Thursday and the second leg?
Yeah. Do you think we should do our predictions for it now?
Well, you want to do? Yeah, go on then. We do it now, yeah, because we're talking about it. Go on then, Danny.
I'm going 2-1 Mkhitaryan.
Very nice.
2-1 to us.
Jace?
3-1 to the Arsenal.
Jesus.
Aaron Ramsey.
Oh, now he's taking.
Oh, what a surprise! That is.
Might as well let John host the show.
Whoa! I didn't mention my boy throughout my roundup of the game.
He done fuck all.
And we didn't mention him missing
goal. Hold up here, mate.
Yeah.
Okay? If you would you like to go back and watch it again, okay? And
listeners, if you'd like to take an intermission for 5 minutes whilst Jason and Gav argue about Ramsey versus Wilshere, and then you come back to us.
Look, hey, there's no argument, okay? Just look at the stats. Sit down.
26 shots on goal.
Gav, what's your prediction for Thursday?
We're gonna win 2-0, and Jack Wilshere's gonna get both of them.
Oh, nice. Very nice.
Come on, Jack. Legend. What are you having, John?
Okay? I'd love it if that happened. I would absolutely love it.
If that happens, mate, I'm stalking you Sunday, right? And I'm just gonna whisper. I'm just gonna stand next to you all day long. I'm gonna follow you from pub to pub. I'm gonna stand there all day long. And I'm just gonna go, Jack.
And do you know what?
Jack in your ear roll all day long.
My reply will be, it's about time he scored more than 2 goals.
You got the assist for the game.
Yeah.
Right. I'm going to go 3-0 Arsenal, and I'm going to go for a Xhaka hat-trick because everyone's been slating him. His first goal, he's going to hit it so hard that Jan Oblak, he may get his hands to it, but he's going to go into the back of the net with a ball.
Why have people been slating him?
Oh, I just don't like him today.
I love Xhaka. He's brilliant.
I thought he played well.
They were slating him in the Man United game as well because they watched Graham Souness and all that lot tear into him.
He definitely wasn't the worst midfielder, was he?
No. Second half of the season.
Moving swiftly on, shall we?
I can feel the heat coming off Jason.
Wales is heating up as we speak.
Boys. I don't mind the banter, okay? I like performance.
Jace, we don't say banter here. We say piss taking. We're all children of the 80s and 70s. Banter's what you say.
Shut up, Danny. I'm getting on with it.
Sorry,
I'm trying to match Mr. Hollick. Right. We're going to talk about the United game from this Sunday. 2-1 defeat, sadly. Gav, I just want to come to you first for your sort of thoughts on the game and how it played out.
Yeah, it was. It's a dead rubber. I mean, it was more or less played at times testimonial type speed, or pre-season friendly. Nobody wanted to get injured. We had the slight upper hand really by the fact of we had so many kids on the pitch who was sort of looking to make a name for themselves, looking to put in a performance. Because obviously whoever's going to be our next manager would have watched that game. So yeah, it was just a strange one, really. It was almost like a freebie. I thought we'd done enough to get the draw. I didn't think we deserved to lose. The young Greek fellow at centre back, I thought he'd done himself very, very proud. I watched, them fellas, look, they put together clips of what the player done all game.
Yeah,
You've all seen them, yeah. I mean, like with Ramsey, you just see like shots going over the bar. Shut up, Jake. But with someone done an edit of every time he touched the ball, and I watched it and I thought he's done all right there. So I watched it again, and he's getting in between the ball and the player, and he's doing sensible passes. His passing looked good. His control looked good, and it's really no surprise. Look, because they bought him basically to loan him back out again, I believe, and it's really no surprise that they stuck him in the first team squad because he really does look like he could be a player. But like I say, I just thought all of our young kids done well. A lot of homegrown talent that we've blooded this year, which I've always been a big fan of, getting the kids from the youths to the now under 23s and give them a chance. And it was just one of those games where Wenger got it right with the team selection, and the result. It's almost as if the result didn't matter. It was kind of one of those games. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I think most people are of the opinion that a draw would have been a fair result, and I don't think anyone was, not that they weren't upset, because I felt a little bit disappointed in the end to lose it in the way we did, but no one expected anything from the game. I think most people went into that expecting us to get an absolute drubbing, but we did very well. Just to sort of talk over the goals, Jace. The first one from Pogba, we were just saying Xhaka has been getting some stick again. If anyone watched it on Sky, you had Jamie Redknapp, who I don't know why they started doing this on Sky. You've got your normal commentary team, and then they call in someone else from the studio. You've got Redknapp talking about what a good midfielder is, which is hilarious coming from him. Actually, no-name, useless career that he had. And then Souness tearing into him because he's got nothing better to do in the studio, and Henri piling on the misery as well. I know he made a bit of a mistake, Xhaka, but is that goal all on him? I thought he had a decent game throughout.
No, it's not all on him, but the slide was ridiculous. And then not to follow Pogba. I'm sorry, that's not the first time he switched off this season, okay? I play, when you've seen Xhaka deliver a really good performance, I go back to the Spurs game at home. Him and Ramsey dominated that Spurs midfield. And I thought Xhaka's performance that day was superb, And you see glimpses of him giving the total performance. He was captain for the day and he switched off. And I expect better of him. I'm not going after him full-blooded on it. People make mistakes. That's the way it goes. But too often this season, he's switched off in his defensive duties. Now, you can turn around and say, he's never been a DM or anything. But defending is part of any midfielder's game, right? And he should have done better.
Did he make up for it when he created our goal?
Yeah.
He made up for it in that respect. You would expect, like I say, from my perspective, if a player makes a mistake, then you want to see him rectify it during that game.
Yeah.
And even though it's not 100% his fault that we scored, because there was still two defenders and a keeper between him and the goal. But like I say, I thought that he come out the second half, and I thought he showed great character. I can't do a bloody
mental strength.
Great mental strength, great character, and I thought he put his error I thought he made amends in the second half, and that's what you want. And there's no better way of making amends than by putting one in at the other end, which he helped create.
Look, I think his second half performance was great. Okay, his first half performance, he's a better player than he showed. Let's be honest about it. Let's not hang him out to dry. But he's a better player than that. And it was good to see him come back, especially with a young team like that. Him and Mkhitaryan really led the way second half, and it was nice to see.
Yeah.
So, a lot of people have been on Xhaka's back this season. He has put in a couple of dreadful performances. Let's not, paper over the cracks. But he's been nowhere near as bad as some people have made out. He's got to, I think, you've got to stick with him. He's going to get better. And hopefully now, we have got a new manager coming in. Hopefully he'll get that coaching that he needs to sort of round off his game.
Yeah. I think some people also, you got to take into account the midfield he's playing in as well. He's playing with two, Iwobi's playing at 10 for only probably the second or third time this season. Maitland-Niles is playing next to him. I'm not saying it absolves him of the goal at all. He's got to at least track Pogba. After that slide, but it does make your job in midfield harder. But I just don't understand the criticism that he would get in a game, and then Paul Pogba, who's a player I actually really like and do rate, and you see him trying to do tricks and stuff and losing the ball and getting mugged by 18, 19-year-olds on our team, and not a word is said about it on the commentary side. Really frustrates me.
But come on, Redknapp and bloody Souness, who cares? I've got to be honest with you. Other than Lexi Lalas, who I think is an utter moron and makes Trump look good, okay, I've just stopped listening to them. They're going to bring up some really good points at times, but a lot of the time it's about making a name for themselves and let's grab a little headline, let's say something controversial. It's what they do.
Yeah.
We've done it on here at times, to spark debate. It's just about.
It's the thing that it's you get that everywhere. Unfortunately, too many people take. Because I try not to listen to the halftime commentary. I'm always off doing something else and all that. But too many people get their opinions from them and stick with their opinions. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I've been watching Arsenal games this year from channels from all over the world, and like I say, the fellas that do the halftime in Canada and the fellas that do Fox Sport. I mean, Warren Barton, even though he's a gooner anyway, Warren Barton, even though he never played for us. But you kind of get a more of a balanced view, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's like I think there's too much one-upmanship and trying to sensationalise things, and too many people fall for it. Really, there's not a lot of people, not a lot of halftime commentators that I actually think talk sense anymore.
Yeah, they don't bring anything.
Don't
bring anything interesting to the table or any highlights of any real discussion. Yeah,
I mean, you could probably count on one hand the people that I've enjoyed listening to commentating games this year. I think Alan Smith is fairly good and impartial. Well, I like listening to Warren Barton. And apart, that's probably about it. Even Gary Neville, I used to really like and appreciate what he was saying. But even now with Gary Neville, I think, just fucking shut up. Do you know what I mean?
But it's that side of it, okay? When you look at that game, okay, the slide was stupid, okay? The problem we've got this season is whenever a player makes a mistake, we get punished. Do you know what I mean? We've been punished so many times. And on any other day, okay, or any other team actually this season, that would have been clear. They wouldn't have scored from it. And it's a case of, you've dropped one there, come on, head in the game, and they recover quickly. It's just one of those things. The tracking back, I do have difficulty with, okay? The slide, hey, we've all done something stupid on the pitch, and he's not the only player to do that. But, thinking that Xhaka, there's certain players in this team, okay? If you think Xhaka should be sold or whatever, you're mad. Okay, we need additions to this midfield to strengthen the competition side of it. And it was, he showed second half what he can do. You had Maitland-Niles put in a really nice performance in midfield as well.
Yeah.
Okay, there's lots of positives to take. Let's not concentrate on the negative of, one poor half from Xhaka. But, it
was one poor moment though. And like I say, you look at how we actually defend as a team as opposed to how individuals defend, and you sort of make a point with that. I mean, you look at how other teams defend against us. In that position, Xhaka would have gone flying past, and then there would have been another two midfielders bang on him straight away. Yeah. So it was literally that he was almost isolated on the edge of the box.
But we've been disjointed all season.
Which is as much about our team setup as it is about individual mistakes. Because other teams, like I say, we've had probably a whole decade of watching us tiptoeing the ball outside the edge of the boxes because teams are well set up and well drilled in defence and in midfield. And because we haven't got that, when one person does make a mistake, we suffer. That's the problem. It's not necessarily, like I say, it's not necessarily the individual errors. It's the fact that as a team, we just don't know how to defend.
I mean, you look at this as well, okay, right? We had two young centre-halves. Chambers gets an awful lot of stick, okay? I think Chambers this season has been one of our he's probably our most consistent centre-half. I thought he did really well on Sunday, okay? The Fellaini goal, well, look, he's done that to better defenders than him, right? But Mavropanos, as you're saying, great debut. But tell you what I like about him, he's got something which none of our other centre-halves have got. Like
a name that you can pronounce.
No, pace.
Even I can pronounce that. Do you notice at one point I'm just editing the website and letting you lot speak. At one point, I said this when I was on Gooners in USA, so forgive me for repeating myself. But Mavropanos was inside our penalty area, and he had one Man United player coming up behind him. He had his arms stretched out wide, and then Chambers was coming in to clear the ball. So he was protecting the ball, shouting to Chambers to leave the ball alone, and shouting for Ospina to pick the ball up. And you thought, my God. How often is it we've seen a young man come in and that normally they're sheepish. He is what 6th or 7th down the pecking order when he joined the club, and I reckon now that most Arsenal fans would put him above Chambers, above Holding, and above Koscielny and Mertesacker, and maybe put him right up there with Mustafi. I know it's after only one game, but the hype for this bloke has been real. Because that he went, like Gav said, when he joined the club, he was meant to go out on loan, and then they went, oh bloody hell, we got something here. It's taken a while to get him his first game, but he's got a lot to live up to.
But Dan, he's a kid, okay? I remember doing the radio show in the Liverpool game, okay? Beginning of the season, and everybody's going mad on Twitter for Kolasinac, okay? Because he's great going forward. He looks really shaky going backwards. Nobody's mentioning that. Do you know what I mean? Everybody sees what they want to see. This kid has had a great debut for us. Fantastic. I'm chuffed to bits for him. If he was selected Thursday night, I wouldn't moan, okay? But if you were to do that, if he does screw up, don't hammer the kid.
That's a big ask.
It's a massive ask, okay? Yeah. But look, that's my honest opinion, right?
Jace, what if he's picked on Thursday, we go through at the back, and he drops Ramsey? Would you moan then?
No, I wouldn't, because that's how you like, isn't it?
That's not going to happen, though, is it? Ramsey's so important.
I'm not being funny, okay? Grow up. That's all I'm going to say to that. No, but look, it's one of those things, okay, if you look at the way he and Chamber... Look, we let in 2 at Old Trafford, okay? Fair enough. It wasn't the most high-intensity game, and it would be a massive ask. But I just thought the way those 2 worked together was really good. And I know there's a lot of people who are not fans of Chambers. But seriously, if you compare them to other centre-halves, not just in this team, but around the league, you look at Lindelof, you look at Otamendi, you look at Stones, okay? Everybody's got Rickett in them, okay? And I just thought that was a very decent performance from those 2 kids, especially when you look at how we defend as a team. Yeah. It's down to them, if you know what I mean. Yes, of course, it would be a huge gamble, and Arsene's not going to pick them for Thursday night. Of course he's not. But you just look at the way they behaved as a pairing. They communicated with each other. You know, they were done by, you know, a cross into to the biggest man in the park, okay, and by a slip in the midfield not tracking back. Now, that's not their fault, so to speak. Yes, they might have done better in certain situations, but I thought it was a really decent performance from the pair of them, and I like Mavropanos' pace. It's nice to see
I was really impressed with both of them. Mavropanos as well, just coming straight into the team, starting against... I know some people don't rate Romelu Lukaku, but he's a big lump, and he's physical. He's difficult to play against. And Mavropanos kicked him off the park. Yeah. That tackle he made, it was a brilliant tackle, won the ball fair and square, nice and clean, followed through, nothing wrong with that, and absolutely wiped out Lukaku, and he had to go off.
Do you know what it looks like?
And that's real bravery, because I don't think people, unless you're at a ground, when you go and watch football live, you really see how big some of the players are. And when you, like, Lukaku is huge, like ridiculous, the size of the geezer. And yeah, just to have that sort of, you know, it was a bit like the West Ham game where Chambers and Holding put one on Andy Carroll, reminding me of that a little bit. Just absolutely no fear. But I thought the young kids were really good. Danny, I just wanted to come to you on Maitland-Niles. Him and Reece Nelson also got a start in this game. Reece Nelson playing from the left. I thought another good game for him, but Maitland-Niles was sort of the other hyped player from the game, really showing off some of his skills in midfield and what we could hopefully look forward to in the future for Arsenal.
Hopefully, and we've seen that with big, like going slightly covering what Jay said, but you look at the game that Big Bob Holding had for the FA Cup final, a magnificent game, and then he's been dropped virtually for the rest of the important games for the rest of the season. But it's great to see Mavropanos, Big Bob Holding, Maitland-Niles all coming in, and they have got so much confidence. You stick Maitland-Niles anywhere on that pitch, and he's going to have a hell of a game. I think he's had one game this season where he's been a little bit quiet. But there's just magnificent and him doing there. And even people like El Neni coming in and grabbing the game by the scruff of the neck and playing brilliantly and being probably one of the fans. These two have been one of the fans' favourites this season. So when it comes to our end of season ABW awards, I reckon both El Neni and Maitland-Niles are going to be right up there with the most amount of votes. But Maitland was brilliant. And I've still not decided on what his best position is. I love seeing him in the middle, but I think he's got, like you're saying, John, he's got so much creativity and passion and flair and ability. I reckon he could play maybe behind the striker in that kind of position, or if he's allowed to play in the central midfield, play in the kind of the Ramsey role where you're allowed to get forward. I don't think tackling is his thing, but we've seen when he's playing at right back and left back that he can play absolutely anywhere apart from probably centre back. But if you stuck him there, I'm sure he'd give it his all and do brilliantly. And it's just really good to see him. You think this is good now? You wait till next season, as long as we get the right manager in, that all these young players are going to be coming on even more next season. I mean, like this one, we had Willock, and Bellerin is another one who's a product of our youth academy. I mean, we may well have got him from Barcelona when he was really young. And Mavropanos and Maitland-Niles, Iwobi, Nelson, and then on the bench we had OC Tutu and Eddie Nketiah. It's just fantastic. Eddie. Yeah, he's brilliant.
But do you know what?
The youth, that crop of young players that are coming through look really exciting. I thought Reece Nelson looked a bit more comfortable on the left-hand side than he did in the last game he played. And it was a lot more natural for him coming in from the left. And a little shout for Joe Willock, who kind of got hung out to dry, I felt, a little bit in the Newcastle game where he made his debut. When he came on, was it Matic who he put the tackle on?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if he got it wrong, it was going to go horrible. But that tackle, he absolutely flattened him. And he's a very slight boy, isn't he? He's obviously got a lot of muscle.
He'd been bullied off the ball earlier, he had, before that challenge. And I was watching that and I thought, he looks like a little boy here.
Yeah.
And then you saw that challenge on Matic and I thought, wow, good for you, fella. Yeah. But do you know who gets me? Maitland-Niles gets me every time, okay? He's got this lackadaisical look about him.
He's so laid back.
Oh, my God. He drives me bananas, okay? But you see his pace in getting back. You see his skill level and you see his confidence and conviction on the ball. He just... I'm really excited to see what he can do in this team. I'm really, really excited. I think, he could save us some money. It could be just one new midfielder we need coming in to strengthen this midfield. If we don't lose anybody, you know, to really sort of round us off to make us competitive. Because I know Josh says a lot about, you know, he should play left back or right back or whatever, or on the wing. He's got the pace to do it. He's got the skill to do it. But I like something about him in the midfield. He looked like he could utilise options. He looks like he's got good vision as well. If only he wasn't so bloody laid back.
We've also got to make sure that, like Willock the Elder, who went off to Benfica, I keep saying Sporting Lisbon, but he went to Benfica, and Maguire has gone to Barcelona. We've got to make sure that these young players are getting a chance. I think that's why they are, because losing Willock, who is an amazing talent, he's played at all the England youth levels and he's done brilliantly. He's a forward, he's a really quick player, a good player. Losing him, I think, may have shown the club or Wenger that, you know, you've got to give these young lads chances. They've got to get first team time, and not just in the League Cup or the Europa League. They've got to get league time as well. And if they don't, they're going to go. So I know it was. Does someone signed a new contract today or this week? Someone young?
Rob Holding, I think, signed a new deal.
Big Bob, good.
Yeah,
That's what we need.
But Dan, you know, combined with that, look, they've got to earn the right to do that as well.
Oh yeah, they have.
They've got to earn the right. Okay, I look at it, you know, when we were mentioning Dan Crowley all the time.
Oh, super,
you know,
Dan Crowley.
You know, what a waster. What a waster.
That was down to his own attitude, I think, more than
but that's why I said he's a waster.
Oh, right, okay.
You know, but how many of these kids are they going to be the next great thing, and they flatter to deceive and they don't deliver? I
think this bunch actually look like they've got their heads screwed on.
Yeah,
they really
the interviews I've seen of them, they all look very sensible, very calm, and I think also I'm sure whoever their agents are all explaining to them, look, new managers coming in. It's essentially not for every player, because there'll be a couple of, obviously, from the first team. Ozil's obviously going to be an auto starter, and Aubameyang, people like that. But there's going to be a lot of places up for grabs next season. So come pre-season, all those youngsters, they're going to have a real shot at not just being in the squad, but actually being on the team sheet week in, week out, if they can prove it.
It's the attitude of them, because I mean we've had like J. Manuel Thomas as well, to name one. Look, you know, went off the rails and ended up, you know, gets nicked driving a $100,000 motor in Hackney while he's half pissed and all that malarkey. Do you know what I mean? It's this lot. I've just got this feeling about them, the same sort of feeling that I guess fellas had in the early '80s when, you know, with the Adams and Mickey Thomas and Bocastle.
The young guns.
Do you know what I mean? There's almost that feel about, look, we've got 4 or 5 kids that are all coming through at the same time. They've all been at the club a long time. And there's, like I say, I mean, if you go back, like I say, as Danny said before we started this pod, look, me and him have been talking for how many years, Dan?
Since 2012. He did the first pod with us when Steve's Bald Collective.
Yeah, and like I say, back if there is, please God, there ain't copies of that about.
Oh, there are. Yeah, they're all still on his website.
Sorry, bit of interference there, Dan. I do apologise.
Probably the fish tank, Gav.
Must be the fish tank. No, but back then I was moaning about the fact that the young kids that we were putting in were all kids that we was buying and nicking when they were sort of 17, 18, and we had no sort of homegrown proper London lads coming through. And the fact that we have now, and the fact that, you know, a lot of them do look quality, it's a real good feeling. It's a real good big buzz. As you said earlier, the under 23s are doing well, the under 18s are doing well. There's such a good feeling with the fact that, you know, we've got these young kids, and we've got them from London, and they just need backing, they need supporting, they need time. They don't need slaughtering if they make one mistake. You know, we've got to sort of really get behind these kids, because, like I say, it's the only way we're going to compete with Man City and Chelsea spending fucking billions in the transfer market. This is the only way we've got of being a force in the next 3 or 4 years is if all these kids make it and they build a team around them.
That's an important fact, Gav, you know, and I agree with you. I think the big thing for this crop at the moment, all these guys, you had Iwobi come into the team and do well last season.
Yeah.
Okay. I know he's had a tough time this season, okay, but he's got the talent to get through it if he works hard on the training pitch, okay? We've seen glimpses recently where there's been a couple of really good performances from him. Yes, he hasn't had the consistency that we'd like, okay? But he's got the talent to come good. Then you look at Maitland-Niles, and I think Maitland-Niles this season's been a real leader for these kids. You know, he comes on the pitch, nothing phases him. I remember watching that, was it the under-21s final he played in? The World Cup final for England?
Yeah.
He comes on as a sub in a World Cup final, and the kid looked as if he was jogging on for a kick around with his mates in the park. Do you know what I mean? You look at Mavropanos, the way he started that game. These kids have embedded themselves in the systems, okay? You know, they're learning off people. They're hungry for it. And with some leaders like, you know, the Chambers, the Maitland-Nileses, the Aworbis, okay? If these kids can see, right, you know, look, he's doing it. Why can't I?
I don't, like I say, even though I don't think that Awobi is completely up to standard at the moment. Not saying I want to flog him off or anything, but I don't think he's quite there yet. But the fact that him coming through and him playing games last season and this season, I think the actual impetus and I think the impression and I think the example that he set is the reason why the next, you know, the kids that are you know, 1, 2, 3 years younger than him, are you know, are sort of making it this year. I really do. I really think it was his example that's done it.
Yeah, he's part of that leadership trail for these kids, okay? And the thing is with the Warby, he's had a tough season, okay? He really has. But let's get something straight. He's got enough talent to come good. You look at his feet. He's got a beautiful pair of feet. He had some good moments on Sunday. I don't think it was one of his better performances. You know, I think he can do better than that. But we don't see enough of him taking the ball on the run. And if we can get him doing that, I think we'll see him far more effective.
Lovely stuff. Danny, just wanted to come to you quickly before we move on from the United game. You've got another little bit for us.
Yeah. I think also Maitland-Niles should be praised for when he was playing in all those positions. He was playing a lot on the first team. He was dropped. I mean, he had an injury, but he was also dropped for quite a while, and he wasn't in the press, and he wasn't shouting and screaming and going mad like a lot of younger players would be, and that's good. But also, we've said for years, Arsenal need to have Arsenal people at the club at all levels. Steve Gatting, under-23 manager, started his career at Arsenal. Kwame Ampadu, under-18 manager, started his career at Arsenal. The same with Greg Lincoln, the under-14 manager. And we've got Ryan Gary, head of the foundation phase coach. He was at Arsenal. And Adam Birchall, we spoke to him a couple of times, and he nearly came on the pod before he joined Arsenal when he was playing for Dover, I think, assistant foundation phase coach. You've got all these people. Steve Morrow, head of coaching, and head of scouting, not coaching. And you've got all these people in prominent positions that know what it's like to play for Arsenal. They grew up the Arsenal way, and now the club are finally filling these positions with these people. And like Gav said, Wenger had 3 phases of going out to Germany, France and Spain and buying all their best young players, and hardly any of them worked out. And when they did work out, they fucked off and left the club. That's all stopped. And I'm just looking through all the young players at the club. They're mostly English, or we've got a couple of Scots lads, a couple of Irish, a couple of Welsh lads. But most of them, looking at the first-year pros, there's 2, 4, 6, 7, there's 15 players, 14 English, 1 Irish. Dan.
Yeah, when you look at how many youngsters make it to the first team, okay, it's a natural progression, okay? You know, you can't just say Wenger bought these and they just fucked off. You know, Martin Keown left the club, right? And before he came back, you know, it happens in life. Yeah, it's not a Wenger issue. It's a fact.
He was behind 2 of our greatest ever centre backs. Though he was behind David O'Leary, right? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, record appearance.
And Tony Adams. Do you know what I mean? You couldn't blame. He left to get game time. There was no, you know.
Look, it's one of those things. Okay,
he was unlucky.
I'm not blaming anybody. Okay, but he came back and he's become one of our greatest centre halves anyway. Do you know what I mean? But the point is, okay, Cesc Fabregas, as much as I detest Cesc for leaving us and the way he left us, he gave us some great years. You know, if he wasn't such a good player for us, you know, it wouldn't hurt so much the way he left, would it? You know,
they should have bought him back when they had the chance.
I see.
When he was coming out of Barca, it was a complete. I've no idea why we didn't buy him.
Maybe because he went on strike. Maybe because he feigned injury. How can you trust him again?
Oh, let's not start this again. Right, I've got 2 more bits to bring up on this game, and then we're going to do a quick bit on the manager and then listeners' questions. Right, so very quickly, Jace, I just want to ask you how impressed you were with Mkhitaryan, and fingers crossed, please be fit for Thursday. How important he's become for the team.
Yeah, I mean, when he was at Dortmund, when I used to watch him play for Dortmund, and I didn't see a massive amount of him, he'd worry me that he'd either be excellent or he'd been hiding. You wouldn't see him in the game. And I think he surprised me with his functionality as well as his skill level. He's a flair player. The way he interacts with his teammates, and his passing ability is superb. When he came into the team initially, I thought he had a couple of really bad games mixed up with a couple of really good games. But I'm so impressed with his work rate at times, and the fact that, it's the simple ball he gives now and again to make himself space. He's an archetypal Wenger type player, isn't he? It's give and go. He gives a nice pass. He finds space. Great goal on Sunday. I got to be honest with you. I wasn't convinced about his signing. The more I see of him, the more I'm over the moon with it.
Yeah, I'm really, really hoping he's fit for Thursday because he's such a big player. Even if he's just on the bench and we can bring him on, I'll take that because he can definitely impact a game. Last thing on the game, Danny. Very quick question. Their goal, Fellaini. A few people blamed Mr. Ospina. If he was a few inches taller, do you think he would have reached that?
If he'd have had a neck, I think he'd have reached out. We all know his real height is about 5'2". They just take the photo of him really close up. I think somebody in maybe our WhatsApp group put a picture of the squad team lineup, as in they're all standing there for the beginning of season photos, and he was so short you almost couldn't see there. I mean, Santi Cazorla towers above him, but that goal, they did exactly the same move a couple of minutes before, and when Fellaini comes on, he's not coming on for his silky skills. No, he's coming on for long ball, head down for someone else or head it in himself. And if he fell for the same thing twice, then it's just shit defending as usual, isn't it? I felt a bit sorry for Dave the Bin Man, but yeah, it's not really his fault. It's genetics.
What's that song? If I was a little bit taller.
Oh yeah, if I was a little bit taller, I wish I was a baller. That one.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
I wish I was 5 foot taller. Yeah.
Oh, if only we had music at the end of the shows, that would be the perfect one.
I tell you what, though, just to nicely round off that game, 2 things. I did think it was nice that Ferguson came out at the start of the game and they gave the little trophy thing they made for Arsenal. I thought that was actually a nice moment. Fuck the United fans who were clapping. Don't like you scumbags. You've been booing him and singing songs about him for 20 years. Just because you did it for one game, don't give you any class. Oh, and by the way, Piers Morgan, that's not the final insult. Ferguson presenting him an award. It's called class, mate. It's having a bit of class about you, you fucking scumbag. Apologies for the swearing.
Oh, fucking. No, it's okay. It's about time, okay? And we've said it on this podcast before. Piers Morgan's the ultimate fucking bottom-feeding prick, okay? This is a guy who, he is the epitome of a shitbag. If you want to take anything, that piece of shit says seriously, more fool you. The wanker feeds on people's misery. And the day he fucks off...
He's got, like I say, as I've said to him, and he replied on Twitter, he's got no rights whatsoever to be speaking about Arsenal as an Arsenal fan. He's not an Arsenal fan. What he done to them boys out in Copenhagen is a fucking disgrace. Right? Yeah. Piers Morgan, do you know what I mean? He couldn't go for a stroll up Holloway Road before the game. Do you know what I mean? Maybe, he couldn't 5 or 10 years ago. He might be able to now. But like I say, he's absolutely vilified and absolutely hated by a very, very large section of Arsenal supporters for what he did by grassing up and, after what happened in Copenhagen. And he's got no rights whatsoever to have an opinion or to speak about Arsenal. He's alongside that wanker from Blackburn who pretends he's an Arsenal supporter. Right? He's got no actual, do you know what I mean? But like I say, with Piers Morgan, if he's on the telly, I turn it off. If he comes on the programme as a guest, the programme gets turned off. You know, he's just one of these people that in life I just wish was dead. In honesty, because he actually bears no function in life whatsoever apart from his own personal greed and his own personal, I don't know, promotion of himself as a big mouth wanker. And he's always been like that, and he always will be like that. So, like I say, he's one of these people that, you know, he's blocked me, I've blocked him because I told him the fucking truth. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's as simple as that. He's a cunt.
What gets me about the Piers Morgan thing, okay? Okay, you may not want Arsene Wenger at the club. He's going, okay? That's it. You know, we know this is we've got a few games to go with Arsene Wenger, you know, and then it's on to a new chapter. Let's look forward to, let's hope we can win Europa Cup, send him off, you know, with a smile, and then look forward to a new future, you know? It's going to be exciting next season, you know?
Say in 2 years' time, Wenger decides to write his own book, right? Piers Morgan will crawl so far up Wenger's arse to get an interview.
Yeah.
Or to get him on, or to get him on that little life stories thing. Do you know what I mean? He's like I say. Can we move on? Because as far as I'm concerned, Piers Morgan, he's got no rights whatsoever to be speaking about.
I just want to finish
years ago. He's a cunt.
Yeah. I just want to finish this off, though. Okay, Arsene Wenger will be remembered always in Arsenal history. Piers Morgan won't. And I think Rambo nailed him at the cup final when he went, "Oh, let's let bygones be bygones. Shake hands, is it, Aaron?" I don't think I want to do that. Goodbye. Fuck off, you cunt.
I just wanted to say, nice. It was a nice touch from United, but fuck your fans. Anyway, before we get to listeners' questions, just quick manager update on the manager hunt, as we were all talking about. Yeah, we need that. What's that? The BBC.
The teleprinter.
So the new hot favourite, although I think this is a lot of nonsense to be perfectly honest, is. Do you want to try and say his name, Danny, or do you want me to do it for you?
I've never even heard of him, let alone the ability to say his name.
I think it's Zeljko Buvac. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm not really sure. But people all know him. He's the long-haired geezer who stands next to Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool, and he's not doing it anymore. He's walked away for personal reasons. He's now 2-1 favourite. I'm not buying this, to be perfectly honest, because apparently him and Klopp fall out all the time, and he's walked away a few times before. You can go look at Rafa Honestein's tweets about it. He said, but the bookies have put him as favourite at the moment. Apparently, he's the brain behind everything and the one who started the whole high-speed attacking style. There's no other new names in the frame other than the fact that it looks like Enrique is probably not going to get the job now because not only does he want a bundle full of money for himself, he also wants 200 million to spend, which I don't think he looked at the club that he was applying for when he said Arsenal, if he wants 200 million to spend in the summer. So I'm just going to go quickly round the three of you, not about Buvac or whatever, but who do you want as manager? Just one word answer, discounting Enrique, who you can't have anymore, Jay. So who would you have now? Put you on the spot.
Allegri,
nice. Gav?
The fella from Monaco, Jardim.
Yeah, Jardim. Danny?
I'm going to say fucking Tony Adams. There you go. I want him as manager because he's fucking proper Arsenal and those fuckers won't get away with shit. There you go. That's what I want.
Danny's not allowed to vote on anything anymore. I would still say Nagelsmann is my pick, but there we go.
He is good.
All right, Danny, have you got the listeners' questions ready to go?
I certainly do. We've already covered some of the points, as always, so don't shout at me if I am. Right, so this is from a Chris Carpenter. This will have to go to...
You're letting him go first?
Well, he's fucking demanding. And if he doesn't, he gets all diva and then he'll not turn up on Sunday.
We should put his question in the extras, so he's got to listen to the whole thing to find it.
He'll be listening because we mentioned his name. He has a Google Alerts, an audio Google Alerts for his own name. He says, Arsenal go into Thursday's game with every... This is for you, Jace. With every game... With every chance, and on the night, I'm sure the panel will agree anything could happen. So, with that in mind, my question is, why is John Spears so shit?
Honestly, that's
fucking awful. At least he can grow a beard. Doesn't have some patchy wonder. Jace, what's your answer?
Because of crabbing.
Well, thank you for putting so much effort into answering that question, as Chris obviously did into writing it.
Look, let's be fair, okay? Normally in a question like that, I would say, "Oh, do fuck off. I couldn't give a monkeys." Okay? But out of respect to John's beard, even though it is shit, okay, he deserves more of an answer than "I'm not interested."
Well, there you go, Chris.
This beard is putting a lot of hard work this season, Chris.
Yes. Yeah. Covering certain people's asses while they're off fancying around London, eating in restaurants and spending £150 on trainers. Fucking shitbag. Right. Next question is going to go. Oh, fuck me. This is like a bloody. I'll read the question from Mike from Gooners in the USA, a wonderful podcast, and then if any of you want to answer it, feel free. My question for the pod. My mates and I are having a vicious argument, complete with stabbings and insults about each other's mothers, about Ancelotti's fitness to be the next Arsenal manager. I think Carlo could be Wenger 2.0. Despite his CV, he clearly doesn't endear himself to the players and the coaching staff, and training is notoriously lax, much like Wenger. I pray we don't make this mistake and instead bring in someone with youth and energy. He had an entire hour and a half to do this yesterday. An energy who will inspire our regressing defenders, holding Mustafi, soon to be Mavropanos, into being strong defensive unit for years to come. Am I right, or should my mother's pitch be prepared to be invaded?
Can I ask?
His mother's pitch what?
Prepare to be invaded.
I thought that was a euphemism for a minute.
I think it might be. Or should my mother's pitch prepare to be invaded?
Maybe it's an American euphemism. We'll have to ask the shredder.
Go on, Gav.
How many tweets? Because that's a lot more than 280 characters, isn't it?
Oh, he WhatsApped me. I'm in a group with him and Andy. They've cheated, haven't they? They've got past our system.
Yeah, I mean that's got to be like a 1,000-word essay.
I think the gist of it is: do you think you can answer this? Do you think? And he said Al Pacino there. That's not right, is it? Although he would be a good manager. Do you think Ancelotti would be a good manager? Because he's just like Wenger, where he doesn't seem to give a shit about defending or training or care about whether he gets on with the fans, which Wenger does care.
I've got no idea, Dan. You're asking the wrong person.
Oh, Jay, Savers, have you got an answer for this?
He bored me at Ancelotti.
Fair enough. John, have you got an answer for this?
Yeah, I don't want him. I think he'd be far too similar to Wenger. It would be much of the same. He's good at man management and getting on with people, like the players and stuff, the majority of them, but the training sessions aren't exciting. I know the Bayern player said it was boring and it's after Pep, which is a bit of obviously anyone after Pep is going to be a step down. But yeah, I just think it's too much of the same. He's the sort of obligatory safe pair of hands, so to speak, but I don't think he's going to bring anything to the team, and he's also going to want a lot of money as well. Where we could get another manager. I'm not saying scrimp on manager for money for a manager or anything, but you're going to be paying him like what you were Wenger a season. You can get a manager for half the price of that.
The thing is with him, okay, he's been a fine manager. Let's not beat around the bush. He's a great.
He's come
manager.
into finished teams though. They're teams that are basically done, aren't they?
Look, by the by, isn't there? There's plenty of people who come into finished teams and failed. Do you know what I mean?
No. I'm not saying he's a bad manager, but the Arsenal team is not the same as going into an AC Milan squad, a Bayern Munich team, a Real Madrid team, anything like that. He's not going to be able to produce the same results.
No, and I just think, we need one of two things going into next season, okay? You either need that real breath of fresh air who's going to invigorate the place and come up with something new and get these players excited, or you're going to need the really technical coaching side of it. Whether it's Jardim, whether it's Nagelsmann, whether it's Allegri, it doesn't matter. But you need one or the other. We need to get technically better, or we really need to express ourselves. Probably with our players, I think the expression side of it, and that breath of fresh air is the most important part. But if they get some really good technical coaching and we become solid, that'll stand us in good stead moving forward, not just for the next 2 or 3 years, but it'll last longer.
Okay, well, we've got about 12 minutes to answer all these questions. So, Jason, Gav, you're not allowed to answer anymore. They're all for John. Nicky Wilson from Norwich. I'm now adding where you're from because it's nice. So Nicky Wilson from Norwich. This is for you, Gav. It says, it's fair to say Lacazette hasn't lived up to the Carpenter hype. Do we put this down to first season syndrome, or does the arrival of Aubameyang mean he will be sold in the summer? And who is your worst ever Wenger signing? And can you all agree who is the worst one? So first of all, Gav, what do you think about Lacazette?
I think that he kind of almost played too much. I don't think he was fully fit for the majority of the season. I think he scored, 6 goals in the last 7 games, John?
Something like that, yeah. He's got a pretty good record since he's come back from injury. And like I say, with the other fella, who I think they're going to try and play him out wide and try and interact him. And as I said earlier, I thought he had the best game he's had all season against in the first tie. So, I'm confident. Look, going into next season, we've got 2 strikers, and either one of them should be capable of getting us. Well, both of them should get at least 20 goals next season. So I'm a lot more confident going into next season with those 2 up front than I was at the beginning of the season.
And who would be your worst ever signing?
Aleb.
Oh, I didn't overly rate him either. Jace, who's your worst ever signing?
Franny Jeffers.
Oh, cheeky. Good. That's a good one.
By the way, Lacazette, dirt track bully.
Is he? Feeder league nonsense.
Feeder league flop.
I like the fact that Jay said dirt track bully. Yeah. Worst. Yeah, Freudian slip there, Jace. Worst Wenger signing. Oh, come on. I mean, the easy answer is Stepanov's. Oh, no. Who's the geezer we got from Man United?
Silvestri.
Oh, Silvestri. Yeah. No, definitely him. That was so bad.
I've won this, hands down.
The problem is there's so many, right? Right? No, there is. I mean, just purely over the fact that he's been in the manager for God knows how many, right? But because there's been so many, you could quite easily list a first 11 of bad signings, right? And a
with
bench.
Lots of subs.
Yeah, and a bench and a full under 23 team. Do you know what I mean? But no,
who's the kid we signed from, I don't know if we got him from Dortmund or somewhere in Eastern Europe saying, but I swear we signed him and he had 2 broken legs and it was going to be 2 years till he could play and he was only 16 at the time or something. He's probably like a farmer somewhere now. He doesn't even play football anymore.
What about Kallstrom? We signed him, he had a broken back. He's got a broken back.
But he scored the penalty. Scored the penalty in the FA Cup run, didn't he?
Yeah. Seriously, they could have signed me and I would have scored a penalty. Do you know what I mean? Sign me, pay me 50 grand a week for a year, and I'll tell you what, I'll score you a penalty. Do you know what I mean?
Just for the listeners, so we can get on to the next question, I'll tell you what Steve's answer is. It's Jerry Payton.
I'm going to have to say, as much as it saddened me, Andre Arshavin, because he should have been a magnificent player. He had everything that we needed, but Wenger got pissed off with him and stuck him out on the left-hand side. And Arshavin couldn't count, and he doesn't understand the concept of tax. And I think he liked the
He's
potato.
A drunk midget.
Yeah, he liked the potato juice a little bit too much. But yeah, like Gav said, there's way too much choice. Probably every centre back would just be an easy answer.
We could do a podcast of that. Right? In fact, Dan, you should do that over the summer. Literally, just do like today's. This week's worst signing by Wenger is keepers, and you could probably do like 2 hours on the shit keepers.
Stop it. Right, next question for you, Jace. This is from Schwinn. He is from Washington in sunny USA, but he's currently swanning around Monaco. Bloody hell, some people live the life. He says, your best player, worst player, exceeded expectations, needs to be sold. How the fuck have I cut and pasted that? Oh, yeah, I've done it the wrong way around. It was 2 parts. Arsenal player you're desperate to have in the next transfer window. And he said your best and worst players so far and the ones that need to be sold.
This season.
He did that in 2 tweets and I've cut and pasted him the wrong way around. Yeah. So who's your best and worst this season? And who's the one player you'd really love to have next season?
Jesus wept. Right, who needs to be sold first? Koscielny.
Yeah.
Either squad player next season.
Don't milk
needs to go. Best player this season, it's Aaron Ramsey.
Obviously.
You know, Hey, just look at the.
He has been magnificent.
Look at the goals and assists. You know,
Standard.
mate, behave. Sit down. Who would I like in?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus wept.
Joe Allen? John Hartson?
I tell you what, Joe Allen, he's an upgrade on Jack Wilshere. Yes!
So bad.
Get it in there. I'm sorry.
I'm driving to Wales tonight.
Come down, mate.
I'll meet you at 9 o'clock in the morning outside your office, mate. I know where you work, son.
I'll put the kettle on.
If you see a clapped out Ford Sierra XR 4i out there.
Who would I like in?
Fluffy dice.
Do you know what? Okay, I'm kind of looking at it. You know, I'm not sure. I'm not sure who I'd want in, but you know, it's gonna have to be either that mid-age, that sort of mid-range age group centre half to solidify us as we can bring through the youngsters properly, or the central midfielder. You know, the talkers of Seri last season. I'm not really sure that's going to work out, but. You know, there's got to be players out there. I don't know who I'd want, to be honest with you.
Fair enough.
John, you got anybody in mind for the central midfield?
Jorginho from Napoli would be good. That would keep in our style. He doesn't look combative, but he is, and he keeps the ball ticking over. He's like, I suppose in a way, Santi would keep the midfield going, but he makes tackles and all that kind of thing. He's not a very big player, but he does all that kind of work for Napoli. The only other one would be just go sort of the opposite way and get an absolute lumping and get Steven Nzonzi from Sevilla.
What about Pulisic?
Yeah. Again, I wouldn't say no. But that is very much keep the ball tiki-taka. You defend by not giving up possession kind of thing. He can make tackles and stuff and interceptions. Don't get me wrong. He's still a very good player, but it's a different kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, next question is going to be for you, John, from Double D Ravoli in Canada. He says, should the new manager be given a league double, a bonus for league double over United, Chelsea, City and Liverpool? We have been really poor against all those teams under Wenger. We have not beaten United since 2006 in the league. He says it really hurts me.
Oh, look, didn't we beat United last season?
I think at Old Trafford.
Yeah.
Fuck knows. I don't remember what the score was at the weekend.
No, we beat them at home, sorry, didn't we, last season?
Yeah. So getting a bonus for winning home and away against the top 4 or top 5.
The teams that Wenger never beats home and away.
Yeah, I guess so. It's probably that kind of thing's probably in contracts anyway. I think it'd be nice to do that because I think when we were competing, that's not necessarily our biggest problem. Yeah, you got to win those games. At least the home ones, which I think actually, to be fair, we've done all right in. Our home record is pretty good. It's right up there. But it's our away record that needs to be sorted. And it's not just against the big boys. It's against the other teams down the bottom of the league. We've got to sort that out first.
We haven't beaten a bottom 10 team all season.
Yeah, you've got to sort that.
You've
got to sort that kind of thing out first before you're worrying about beating the big boys. So, do you give them a bonus? Yeah, if you want. I don't care. It's not my money.
But if you beat the big boys, you're probably going to win the league anyway, aren't you?
We wouldn't this year. If we'd beaten Man United, Chelsea, Liverpool, Tottenham, and Man City away, right, we would still be about what's my maths? About 10 points behind Man City.
Yeah, but look, how often?
Do you know what I mean?
How often have you had away form like this season? This is
1960.
3 years.
No, I don't think we ever have. No,
yeah. We have. I
think it was 61 or 66. I saw someone cleverer than me put it up the other day.
That's the point. This has been a one-off season in regard to away form. We'll sort that out.
Good.
Yeah, 15 points puts us. We'd still be behind Man United, so we wouldn't even be second.
We'll be third.
Yeah.
Shut up. Next
That's
question. This is to you, Gav, from Pick Mick in Helsinki, Finland. Ashley Maitland-Niles looks the business, and Nelson, Mavropanos, Willock, etc. have real potential of becoming regular squad members for next season. If the potential managerial names being touted, who do you think would be the best option to help our youth prospects' point of view?
only answer I've really got from that, really, is Jardim's record at Monaco.
Okay, good. Right, next question from Grown Star in Canada. This is for you, Jace. It's linked to the last one. As we await our new manager, what about our youth policy? Mr. Wenger believed in youth development and bringing a few through to our first team by giving them chances in the Capital One Cup and such. Will our new manager have to walk the similar path? I believe that issue will be pondered upon by our club's hierarchy before hiring. So, along the lines, do you agree with Gav? It's really important.
Go on, say yes, Jay. Say yes.
No. Never. No way, never.
Say you agree with me. Say you agree with me.
Look, I think they're going to have to. You know, the League Cup, the English League diary, so to speak, is congested. They're going to have to use youngsters, and it is going to be part of the club's mantra going forward. Mislintat coming in shows that. So, yes, I do have to unfortunately agree with Gav.
Right, question for John from Eric Colton. Sounds American. He's only ever done one tweet, and that was to us. So I think he might be one of them that deletes all their tweets. He says, I haven't heard anyone say this, but do you think playing against 10 men Atletico for 80 minutes actually hampered Arsenal in the first leg? They basically parked the bus and caught our League Two trained banjacked captain on the break.
It's a good description of Koscielny. I think me and Jay sort of spoke about it during the review of the Atleti game. It disrupted us, I think, when that sending off happened, because we were really on top of them, and Atletico just weren't organised. They were really struggling to sort things out, and they didn't know what players to pick up and everything else. The moment you go down to 10 men, you know exactly what you're doing. It forced Griezmann to come in and work back a bit harder, and Gamera to drop a bit deeper as well. The one thing that Atletico are really good at is defending. That's their strong point. So, I don't think it actually did help us in the game. Because they would have likely taken a few more risks if they got 11 men. I think we might have exploited the space a bit more.
Here's a question. Do you think Simeone intentionally got himself sent off?
No, I think he just actually wanted to kill the ref. I think he definitely wanted to kill the ref.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Okay, next question. This will be for Gav. This is from Dean Potter from Frinton-on-Sea in England.
Oh, lovely. He says,
if we lose on Thursday, do you think Wenger will revert to the usual suspects for the remaining games of the season, or continue with the youth players he has used lately?
I don't think he's going to want to go out on a loser. So if we lost Thursday, I would expect him to, since he's not there next year, he can pretty much do as he likes. He might as well play himself in goal. Do you know what I mean? So I've no idea. Like I say, but you could never really second guess what Wenger's going to do over the years anyway. And for what would be 3 dead rubbers, God knows, if he was staying, you would have thought that he would spend the last 3 games blooding some more players and playing pretty much the team that played against Man United. But who knows? Who knows what he would do? He might as well just go. Do you know what I mean? If we lose on Thursday. Right. Go, if we lose on Thursday, you might as well say, right, you know what, after Sunday, I'm going to go and do a bit of gardening or go and set up a few birds in Paris. And that's it. Say goodbye Sunday, and then you can fuck off.
If the people go and buy lots of shirts from your site, will you promise to buy a set of headphones that don't fucking buzz? And new fish. And some new fish. It's not the fish tank, it's your headphones.
I'll make a fucking deal with you then.
Oh, here we go.
If you invite me on more often, I'll buy a new set of headset. I'll buy a new headset.
What's wrong? It's just bad luck that we've had you on 2 shows in a row. Don't get used to it. People do
what do you mean bad luck, you cheeky fucker?
And all you've done is moan for 6 years. But with a new manager, you might actually see a new side of Gav. So.
This is the thing, okay? Wenger's going. He's still moaning. Honest to God, where's your joy, man?
I tell you what, I will be the first person to have a such and such red and white army t-shirt out in the shops, mate. I'm all in. Do you know what I mean? If he's Italian, I'm going all in. It's going to be red, white and green. Do you know what I mean?
Do you know what? Part of me hopes it's Brendan Rodgers so you can start a new cycle of mourning.
Get on with it.
Right. Next question is for you, Jace, from Iwobi. He says, with Arsenal leaving in the summer and a new manager coming in, what style of play would you most like us to adopt, e.g. counter-attack, possession-based or wide play?
I think whoever the new manager is, the possession part of it will be most important. They just need to sort out the defensive side and that link between defence, midfield and attack, and we'll be okay. If we get those links right, there's not a massive amount that needs doing, but we just need to pay real attention to defending, and just linking between the three areas of the park.
Right, 3 more questions and then we're done. Hold on, I think I'm going to burp. No, I'm not. It's okay. I've been on the Lucasade diet, obviously. This one is for you, John. It's from Jove82 in Belgium. He says, do you think Kolasinac could do a job for us in the centre of midfield? He has size and is a relatively good passer and a pretty good shot. Rather than investing in lots of players who should we let the current ones we have given a season under a new man? No, that's the second question. He doesn't get too cheeky, Jove. So would you like to see Kolasinac playing in central midfield? I think he could do a job.
Hell no. Have you seen when he turns around and he's got to run back towards goal?
No.
He's not very good. Yeah. No, thank you. If anything, I'd like to see. If anything, I'd like to see him further away from the goal. Maybe you could play him as, if we go to 3 at the back again, I think he's okay as a wing back. Or you could play him like we used to do with Gibbs and Monreal and playing in front of a left back, because he's very good going forwards. And he's quite deceptive. Once he gets, I'm not sure that he's quick. I think it's just because he's so big that once he gets running, no one wants to get in the way of it, because I know I certainly wouldn't. Yeah.
Or when the QE2 is coming at you at 30 mile an hour, it does feel a lot more than 30 mile an hour. Do you think he's done with us though? Because this hasn't turned out for him like he would have hoped, and we got him on a free, and it's easy money if we want to flog him.
I don't. You're not going to get a ton for him, though, are you? I don't think we're done with him, because it depends on. Well, he's had a pretty poor season. He hasn't done a lot. He's made a lot of mistakes. Yeah. He hasn't particularly impressed. So, no, you've got to see what the new manager thinks. Yeah. They'll have a look at him in pre-season and maybe get something more out of him. He was a very, very good player in the Bundesliga. Maybe, sometimes it takes a...
He was right back of the year, wasn't he?
Yeah, left back of the season.
Sorry, left back of the season. Yeah, sorry.
This is the thing. An Arsenal defender making mistakes? You shot me.
How dare you, sir? Right, we've got 2 more questions. Gav, as you're the star guest, would you like one on Santi, or would you like one on next season's captain?
Oh, can I have next season's captain, please, Bob?
Right, this is from Yanis, probably in bed, as his bio says. What kind of changes would you like to see the new manager make in terms of the captaincy next season?
Right. I would like to have a captain that plays every game. I'd like to have a captain that decides what sleeve length the players fucking wear and make sure that they're all in uniform. I would like a captain who maybe even Welsh. Jace, sit down, mate. Sit down. I would like a captain that decides that from the hotel to away games, they turn up in suits. They don't turn up looking like they're off to some form of grime concert. And that would be it, really. But yeah, no, we need a captain that plays every game. We need a captain that leads by example. We need a captain that's generally always fit. But I guess really there's, if I was coming in, as much as me and Jace have a bit of banter over, Jack and Aaron, I would probably put Ramsey as captain next year.
Bloody hell. Right, and the question for you, Jace, which is, scroll back up, which is from Adam Burgess from Kettering in England, which isn't far from here. He says, do you think we'll see Santi on the bench for the last home game at the weekend? Maybe a 5-minute cameo at the end if we're winning. I know he's not fit, and I know Wenger has downplayed his readiness, but I've just got a funny feeling he might appear.
Look, we've got to beat Burnley. My head says no. My heart would say it would be lovely. But do I see it happening? Not really, no. With the way we go with injuries sometimes, if you've got to trust that guy to go on and play for 30 minutes, it's not the time. So I would say no. but my heart says it would be lovely.
We have a quick message here.
Get on with it.
Did you hear John sweating it on? I tell you what, now he knows
Get
how
on with it.
Hey, look, come on, hurry up. I'm almost got this at an hour and a half here. This is magic.
Right, so that's all the questions done. We have had some questions while we were waiting, while we've been doing the show. One from Sri the Gooner, from Matt L. Roberts, and is there anybody else that said Kyle Palmer? An evil genius just did a hashtag fuck Ellis. So back to you, Johnny Boy.
Okay, well, thank you very much, listeners, for all your questions. Sorry, we couldn't answer all of them. Yeah, go on.
Before you close up, mate, is there any kind of thing you've got, any bet that you've got going on with the lovely Goonaholic over how long it's going to take you to close up this podcast?
No, there is no bet, and no, you can't keep dragging it out by asking.
No. I do have another question, John, and it's regarding to your lovely, well-kept beard. Right? Obviously, I've got a shorter beard than yourself, which I kind of comb to keep in good condition. What is your, gentleman's grooming procedure with the beard?
I just have a shower, mate. That's it. Nothing else.
There's no brushing. You don't use any coconut oils or.
I use oils, but it's not from coconuts. But yeah.
What kind of oils?
Danny said.
What kind of oils do you use, John?
They're from barmaids. Anyway, Danny.
Doing it.
Can we mute Gav? Mute him, quick.
We've got one lot of predictions to do and shout outs, and then we might be done.
Right. Okay. So we got predictions for the Easter Burnley game. Yep. Go on then, Danny. You go first.
I think we're going to beat them 3-0, and the first goal scorer is going to be Abu because Burnley, their season's over and they're on the down.
It's going to be who?
Aubameyang. I'll just put Abu so I know it's Aubameyang.
Nice. Jace?
5-1 to the Arsenal.
Ramsey.
No.
Ramsey.
No. Aubameyang. Nah.
What do you reckon?
2-0 to. I'll go Welbeck.
Nice. I'm going to say 4-0 Eddie.
Do you think you're playing?
Yeah, I reckon he might get a game.
See, this is the weird thing about, like I say, I'm not actually trying to drag this out now.
Go
right?
on.
But if we do win Thursday, then the team selection Sunday is going to be a complete change, isn't it?
Yeah, it's got to be.
And if we lose, then again it could be a complete change.
And are you going to the game, Jace?
Yeah.
Oh,
He didn't want people to know that. See, he's going to get harassed. He's a big superstar, isn't he?
He'll be strutting around. You know who I am. You know what I do.
To score for an autograph.
He'll have his Welsh Justice baseball cap on, back to front, waving a Welsh flag.
He's having Ramsey shirt on.
Yeah, back to front.
Yeah, listeners, if you do see Jason, ask him to take his shirt off. He's got a massive tattoo on his back of Aaron Ramsey. Yeah. Honestly. Come on then, Danny. We do shout outs and then we'll get wrapped up.
Yeah, my one is going to go to Mike and Andy from Gooners in the USA, who were kind enough to invite me on their show yesterday. We had an hour and a half of fucking around. It reminded me of how Goonosphere used to be and how we are all the time. It's good fun. And also, they're up for an FBA award that we won in 2014. So if you go to my Twitter, the pod's Twitter, or any of the other ones, and I've even done a screen grab of how you go to the website, just vote for them and give them your vote. And if you don't want to vote for those, you can always vote for Giles's podcast with Tim Stillman and Soccer Yank Dan, I think it is, or Dan, the other one. And who else do they have on there? They have Clive. Clive is on there. Yeah. Yep. So you can just go and make sure you vote for one of those two because they're Arsenal and they're brilliant. So I want to make sure that another Arsenal podcast wins that award.
Jace, your shout out.
I've got two. First is to my mate Steve Bailey John. He's had a knee op today. Get better soon, pal. And the other one, last guy who followed me, Monrele, Monrele, at Budget Marcello. There you go. Is it Marcello or Marcelo?
Marcelo. Yeah. You've been hanging around with Danny too long.
Marcello.
Fucking Brazilians.
Gav, your shout out, mate.
Right, okay. It's to a company called called Legends Publishing.
Ah.
And you can find them on legendspublishing.net or on Twitter at Legends Publish. And at the moment, they've got 2 new Arsenal books coming up. One by my good friends Mark and Andy and Tim, called The Royal Arsenal, and one called Almost Invincible, which is by Jock, which is about the 91 team. And they've got another book on there, which was by Dave Seeger about Georgie Armstrong.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, like I say, if you like a good read and a good Arsenal read, I would strongly suggest it. I really would. Do you know what I mean?
The other book by Jock.
Yeah, he's mentioned it. The Geordie Armstrong book, I did a book special with Dave Seeger, and I got to be honest with you, if you want to read about a proper Arsenal legend, fantastic. And Dave does a really good job on it. You know, it was an absolute pleasure doing that podcast with him.
Yeah, he's a nice fella, Dave. He's a nice fella.
He's a top man, and Geordie Armstrong, you just wish you could have met him, you know. My mate, Anthony Reese, he played in the Geordie, and, you know, only ever says great things about him.
Yeah, no, that's why. Go on.
Yeah, no, I've got that. I got that book as well. Actually, my dad got me that for I think I can't remember if it was Christmas or birthday. So it's a great book, and it's nice reading about a player. Obviously, I never watched play, but hearing stories about my dad and sort of went through it and talking about different bits in the book. Yeah, good shout out that, Gav.
I've got another good read as well for those. It's on Gunners Town today, so I think you quite easily find Gunners Town on Twitter. And my mate Gary done a biog on Jules Graham.
Oh, lovely.
From sort of like literally from sort of like birth and his upbringing, and it's quite a long read. Do you know what I mean? But I think I managed 10 minutes with the kids being quiet. I think Peppa Pig was on the telly or something. Right? But, no, it's a really good read. It goes all through Jules Graham's playing career and quotes from other players and stuff like that. And it's one of the pleasures I actually get is reading. It's Gary Lawrence who does these on Gunners Town, and it's one of the pleasures when he does these Arsenal legends sort of, you know, blogs, because they're a long read, but it goes into their a bit into their background and what they were like off the pitch and all that. And for Jules Graham, who was, you know, won, you know, loads as a manager and, you know, loads as a player as well. You know, he's possibly one of the, you know, the most decorated Arsenal men ever. It's really nice to sort of like read what he was like as a player, and, you know, it's just a good read. So if you like a good read, you know, go to Gunners Town and track that one down today.
Wonderful stuff. My shout out goes to Gunner Through, who is at Far Too Easy. That's 2 with 2 O's. We never agree on anything whatsoever. He always tells me I'm wrong about players. We were having an argument about Mauro Icardi the other day, and he was saying he's rubbish. But I always like the conversation, and it's good. And he actually does it in a nice, respectful way. And we always end up saying we've agreed to disagree, but we always have a good chat. So go and give him a follow. That's it, Danny, I think. Are we all done?
I think, yes, we are all done. And maybe Gavin would like to mention his website one more time to make sure that he gives you lot away a signed Santi Cazorla shirt, framed at the end of the season, apparently.
Yeah, go on in, Gav.
Seriously,
give it us one more time.
I will. I'm telling you. Yeah, no, like I say, at the end of the season, Danny will work out how he's going to do it or whatever, but one lucky listener will get a signed shirt from Santi, all in a frame, all very nice, delivered to their house. If you live overseas, fucking
we'll have to sort something out posted.
Yeah, no.
When you sort of postage, it'll fit in your pocket.
Oh, don't. Yeah, no, I've got a Santi match one at the moment as well, and, you know, I think I might give it to the 6-year-old. But yeah, no, it's the problem is with the signed frame stuff overseas is the fact that you're sending glass overseas. Yeah. So
that's to send the shirt on its own then.
Yeah, might have to. But like I say, it's just purely on the fact that it's you can't send glass stuff overseas, really. Do you know what I mean? You're asking for trouble. You're asking for it to get broken.
We'll
and
send
what do
them
you do?
some sand and they can make their own glass.
It's a very good idea. Anyway,
It
you
is.
can find that Santi signed shirt as well as other signed shirts and other retro shirts at www.thearsenalshirts.com. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Gav. And it's now just for me to say thank you to all our guests. So
You really are
again,
trying to close this down quick, John.
yeah, I know, and it's funny. Someone keeps interrupting and just like little, just like little niggling, just niggles you a little bit. But yeah, just like to say thanks, Gav, for coming on.
John, it's been an absolute pleasure with your hosting.
This gone. Look, the hour and a half's gone. Dave's beaten me. He's done it. He's done it.
No, you've been brilliant. You've been brilliant. Like I say, it's always a pleasure speaking to you boys. Absolutely love it. Thank you.
It's great having you on, Gav. Jace, thanks, mate. Nice
Always a
bit of role
pleasure.
reversal tonight.
Thank God, I'm sick of the hosting, honestly. Who would have ever thought
you do a
I'd
good
miss...
job, though, Jace. Jace, you do a good job, mate.
Whenever
you,
I'm on the
mate.
radio and you're not there, I always get complaints in the box. They're always asking for Welsh justice. So you're much loved by the listeners.
Some
But-
people are
so-
very easily pleased, aren't they?
Jace, out of all the managers, Jace, right?
Yeah.
That have been linked with, and all the assistant managers that have been linked with the Arsenal job. Which one do you think will get the most out of Ramsey next season?
Genuinely, I don't know. And to be honest, I just want them to get the best out of all our players. I look at us this season, and it breaks my heart to see Arsene like this, you know. But,
Jace, that's enough. Stop it.
no,
Danny,
that's
thank you
tough,
for
mate, tough.
thank you for being thank you for being here as always, Danny.
Oh, cheers, John.
Yeah. See, this is what I've got to part with listeners.
thanks
So
for
they're all
hosting,
nice and
John.
respectful to Dave, just terrible to me. So it's just for me to say now, we have been a Bergkamp Wonderland and Arsenal podcast. Thank you very much for listening. We'll be back next week as always. Bye-bye.
Up the Arsenal.
Tickety tonk, cold fruit. Oh, hoi, hoi, cheeky monkeys, and here's a little bit of shenanigans from before the podcast started.
Are you watching this Madrid Bayern game?
Yeah.
What's the score?
It's 1-1, but the quality of the football and the speed it's being played at, we are miles away. Like miles
Quite
away.
breathtaking.
Yeah. The speed of it as well is ridiculous.
And Bayern were 1-0 up. Half time
So,
now.
hold up, your boys, okay? They can produce these fucking games, 6 games a season, because no cunt challenges them the rest of the time in the leagues.
True.
But, you know, am I fucking wrong? You know, Bayern win the German league again. Is it by 20 points or 30 points this season?
I think they were 20 odd clear last time I looked. I'm not sure.
There you go. You know what I mean? You know, you don't need to be fucking Mystic Meg to work this shit out. You know, tell you what, you put those two cunts in a fucking Premier League season, they ain't going to be as effective. And that's a fact.
I don't know. I think they're still better most of the teams in the Premier League.
I genuinely don't think they would. I tell you one thing, Sergio Ramos to be sent off 4 times in 6 weeks.
They smashed us 5-1 home and away. Like 6 years in a row, whatever it was.
We were dog shit, though, weren't we?
I needed counselling after that.
Gav, are you there?
Yeah, you're just all talking bollocks, so I thought I'd sit here and...
Hey, you got your headphones plugged in?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're
Only fucking
Oh, no,
just.
he's too fucking tight to buy a set of headphones. So he has one part of one headphone and another part of another headphone.
No, can you... No, seriously, can you hear me?
Oh,
all right?
now we can. Yeah.
Right. Is
What
that...
did you
Can you
do?
hear me even better now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you do?
Move my head to the microphone.
Fuck me, you're a pro. Look at that. How long you been doing this? What, 6 years?
Fucking
I'll
hell,
tell
I don't
you
do
what.
6 years.
Oh, you started in 2012, didn't you? When we got you on for Steve Spald.
Yeah, hold on. Let's have a...
It's Richard fucking Dimbleby, honestly. Fucking hell.
No, what it is I've got my headphones. They do work, but they've got a... because when I originally bought these headphones, I had an in jack and an out jack for the headphones.
Fucking hell, they're
But
shit.
now, I know, but now on this laptop has only got a mic jack. So I have to have the sound coming out my laptop, and I feel a bit stupid wearing bloody a big set of sound bloody. Well, basically, it turns out that if I put the headphones on properly, it'd be like I'm wearing bloody sound cancelling headphones. Do you know what I mean?
Sounds like an episode of EastEnders. Have you got your power plugged in?
I'm literally, Dan. I am 2 meters away from the main Wi-Fi thing. I'm plugged in.
No, I mean I can hear a buzzing, and that's either your phone or unplug your power lead.
Oh, this?
Yeah.
No, that's my fish tank because I'm sitting by my fish tank.
It can't be
turn it off and let them all
easy
die
with you, can it?
Fucking hell, Dan. It's so quiet. How can you hear a faint buzzing, mate?
Mate,
Jesus, you should get a job at MI5, mate. They ain't gonna need these snooper towers, or do you know what I mean? They ain't gonna have to have any microphones on drones or anything. They can just send you, Dan, what's going on in Liverpool tonight, mate? You can hear.
Have you ever done a podcast of this cunt before?
Yes.
There you go. You should know by now.
I know.
Fucking fish tanks. Leave the fish fucking drown or whatever they do.
There's no noise. It's like literally. I'm sitting next to it, and when there's silence, I can't hear anything. Fucking. Do you know what I mean? Seriously,
I can't
Dan,
hear any
do you know what I mean?
buzzing.
Can you hear any buzzing?
I can't hear any buzzing.
I can.
Fucking hell, Dan. I'm telling you.
Well,
mate.
that's what they say, didn't they? Like people, when they lose the ability in certain parts of their body, the other ones are heightened.
That's it. They compensate.
Yeah, but
Dan, can you smell what I had for dinner?
You probably had some dodgy curry.
I'm not being funny. You don't normally associate that with ears and legs.
There's no way in the world any of you will. In fact, I could give you 10 guesses each, and none of you will guess what I had for dinner tonight.
Nothing.
No, I did have food.
Yeah, fish food.
Yep. You're not going to guess.
Sushi.
No.
Fuck off. He's not going to have sushi, is he?
You get that in Tesco,
That
yeah?
fucking foreign muck.
See, that's why you will never guess what I had for dinner tonight.
Oh, yeah,
Caviar.
really.
Lasagna or pizza?
Oh, shut up. No.
It's not his birthday.
Kebabs?
No.
Yeah.
You had Szechuan chicken.
No. Even though I quite like that, actually. Sorry, Dan, did you hear me hitting the car?
You never order it because you can't say it. They don't. What's your Szechuan?
Szechuan? You would seriously, you just won't guess it. It'd just be pointless.
Yeah.
Just tell us then.
I had peppers stuffed with couscous.
You fucking make me sick. No meat.
Oh, I did nick one of the kids' sausages.
Oh, that's more like it. Fucking peppers. The only thing peppers should be stuffed with is rubbish and put in the bin. You disgust me.
See, that's why, Dan. Do you know what I mean? You can hear everything. You got no heightened sense of smell, though, have you?
Oh, fucking have I?
I was blowing down the microphone and everything, then.
Stop it. She's always moaning because I go, oh, that stinks. Perfume. Get that off. Hate it. Strong smells. It's part of. Oh, it's on because I'm on the spectrum.
You're definitely on some sort of spectrum, mate.